I was driving in the car one day and heard this radio story about a couple who had been living on the side of Pikes Peak for the last 8 years and working at a place called BARR Camp. And the story was fascinating to me, and I found it really interesting. It turns out that it was about Neil and Teresa Taylor, who were getting ready to leave. And at the end of the story, they mentioned that they were looking for replacements. And I thought, like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Went about my day. And that thought about that story kind of like stuck in my mind. And I kept having this impression that I needed to just reach out and get some more information about it. And so I reached out to get some more information, and Neil emailed me back and said, okay, I've got you on the list of candidates. And I was like, oh, whoa, wait a second. I'm not sure if we're there yet. But, you know, right after that, I had this sense like, you should go and interview. And at this point, I hadn't even mentioned any of this to Anthony. And so we were driving down to Colorado Springs one day to see some friends, and I see Pikes Peak off in the distance, and I say, so there's this job opportunity where we can go up and live on the side of Pikes Peak. And he thought it sounded cool, and so we applied and interviewed and ended up getting the job. Which I am forever grateful for. Our experience at BARR Camp was beyond words amazing. It was just such an incredible experience. We met some amazing people who to this day are some of my greatest friends. And even those that we haven't kept in touch with, we just had these really wonderful, intimate connections with people that happen very quickly. You know, when someone's hiking up the side of a mountain and they might be struggling, or they might just be having an amazing day, and they walk into what is essentially your home, and we get to welcome them in and give them nourishment, both, I feel like, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and just connect with people in a way that I don't think most of us have an opportunity to do. So that was just a truly like amazing experience that I'll forever be grateful for. I remember our first training weekend was the weekend of the ascent and marathon. And so for those that don't know, this is a race that summits the Pikes Peak. It's a 8,000 feet of elevation gain, and you know, either 13 miles if you're running up, 26 if you're going up and down. And we were running the aid station at BARR Camp, which is the largest aid station. It's right in the middle of the race. And I remember thinking, as I'm seeing all of these people run up the mountain, I was like, these people are crazy. At that point in my life, I was not a runner. I hated running, actually. I was very active. I played sports. I could run after a soccer ball all day, but like, put me on the road and I was like, forget it. So I thought these people were like literally crazy that they were running up the side of the mountain. But then, of course, after being at BARR Camp for a few months, the craziness wears off. And, you know, we would run down the mountain just out of efficiency to get down faster. And then at some point I was like, oh, I wonder if I could run up. And so we started running up. And pretty soon we were running up and down the mountain just like those crazy people.
My wife and I had decided that, well, we got engaged while we were up at BARR Camp. So we're in the process of planning our wedding, which is still like 3 months away, something like that. And we had kind of this joke that we had bought a 16-foot travel trailer and we had to go practice camping. Like, we had to go figure it out because our honeymoon was going to be driving around the United States in our camper for hopefully a year and a half, staying in the national forests, maybe stopping for jobs if we needed to, and just kind of living kind of that nomadic life after being in a cabin for 2 years up on the side of a mountain. So, and we were going to run. We wanted to go run all the different national forests, maybe do some races on trails in every different state or something like that. Just kind of this like adventure for a honeymoon. And so we'd come here like on that initial, kind of takeoff. Let's just go and practice our camping, our RV camping, and trying to go to these absolutely crazy places. We should have never taken that camper, and thinking we were going to die a couple times. so much fun, so much.
We got pregnant a month and a half after getting married, which we're really excited about. It changed our travel plans a little bit, but we continued traveling for a while, and then decided at some point to that we needed to be somewhere in order to have the baby. And so we actually came here to Salida.
Something about as it got closer and closer to that time to maybe settle down a little bit and get ready to have the baby. The energy kind of brought us to Salida, and so we came back to here. We kind of used this. We said it was our kind of our hub. Like we'd come here for my wife's appointments, and then we go drive down to Arizona and stay in National Forest for a couple weeks, and then we drive back for the next appointment, and we'd go to Utah or whichever. And so we did that until we got pretty close to pretty much to the end. I think we were still doing that. I think I was running a race 2 weeks before we had the baby or something like that. So so we came back here, had the baby, and stayed here for quite a while.
And we worked at a place called River Orchard Place, which at the time had cabins that were available for rent, and it was this beautiful space. It's actually in Poncha Springs, which is just down the road from Salida. Beautiful space, really good people, and again, got to interact with guests in a really nice way. But it didn't feel quite like bar camp. People weren't necessarily coming right into our homes, and so we were still in search of something that felt more like that. We spent that winter in Utah, and then we ended up going out to West Virginia, where we worked at a place called Three Otters, which is an eco-retreat center. Also, amazingly beautiful place, right on the Potomac River, kind of nestled in the mountains of West Virginia. Really good people who own and run the place. And again, met some of our greatest friends there. There was another couple who was brought on after us to help caretake, and so made some really great connections. We were still looking for something more, though. We wanted to really be able to connect with people in the same way that we did at bar camp. We wanted to sort of create either our own retreat center or at least our own retreats in some way, but realized that we needed funding in order to do that. So I ended up taking a job back east in Washington, D.C., where I was working as a therapist for Kaiser, and then ended up running one of their behavioral health clinics. Also a great experience. My staff and colleagues there were really amazing, and it was fun to be back east. Anthony was at home with our daughter, and they went on all kinds of super fun adventures. But it wasn't quite the life that we were looking for, and we had come back to Colorado to help a friend run the High Lonesome 100. And so we were here in the Salida area, we were up in the mountains, we were driving around and on a lot of these trails, and we both just looked at each other and were like, why are we not here? This is where our heart is, this is where we need to be.
Just driving down into Salida's valley again, as we came in, my wife and I just had a conversation and said we're moving back in 6 months.
It made a goal to move here by January of 2020, and we did. We moved back, and we started our own private practice, which actually is combining a lot of these things that we've been working on all along. So I'm working as a therapist, Anthony is a mindfulness coach, and so we offer both individual therapy and mindfulness coaching to all of our clients for the same, under the same fee. And so he gets to work with them either with mindful movement or different mindfulness practices, just to help them kind of integrate what we're doing in therapy into their real life. And then
as the momentum continued, we met up with Harold and Devin and decided to start a company where we're going to do host Feldenkrais retreats and or Feldenkrais centered retreats for running.
And I feel like it's been a really nice way to kind of, like I said, bring all these facets of our life together, that we're practicing, we're doing work that we really love, we're running, we're helping to connect people and connect with people through running and mindfulness, and it's all just coming together really beautifully.